Hi guys, Richard from SharpshootingUK here. What I have here is the latest scope from Meopta. Their high mag range Meostar R2. That's a 6x mag range. Now, the Meostar R1 series, I think, is probably the best value in the world. I mean, the optics and the finish and just the quality in every area is world class. Not just pretty good, but right up there. Zeiss Victory, Swaro, right there, and they're give or take half the price. So I absolutely love them. That's the Meostar R1 series. I'm doing some more reviews on that. Keep tuned for that. I'm also blown away by the ZD series. Again, separate reviews on that. So here we have the R2. So high mag range this time, not your normal 4x mag range. We've got a 6x mag range. In this case, a very versatile 2.5, right up to 15. So you've got a lot of scope there. You know, a lot of scope. Okay, just some main features. Again, you can geek out on the internet if you want all the details, but I'll whiz you through them. This is an illuminated scope, red dot. It's not digital. It is the dial instead of the side focus technique. Okay, with a gap in between. So off 5, off 6, off 7, etc., etc. You can see the maximum brightness in bright sunshine. And the bottom one is nice and dim at night. It's really well done. It's really well done. There's nothing wrong with that. Battery in the side. Now, clicks. We have got hunter style turrets. In other words, they're covered. And quite good audible clicks. Now, this moves, which is disconcerting, but you soon get used to it. And it's easily reset. You can upgrade it to a super clicky tool version, which is rather clever. It's only £100 or so. It's a nice upgrade, that. Anyway, nothing wrong with that. And you press down to zero the things. That's absolutely fine for this sort of purpose. And nice clear marks. Although there's no, you know, no yardsticks on there. It's just clicks. So you could put a sticker there saying 300, 400. You would have to do that yourself. But they're nice and loud. Very tactile. Good and stiff. That's fine for this type of scope. This isn't a massive tactical long-range scope. It's not for that crowd. So these turrets are absolutely fine, and they pass the box test. They're spot on. So we're looking at 2.5 to 15 by 56 red dot. We've got your deer stalking, or the sort of, what should I call it, big game hunting type ret. So you've got your classic sort of 4A, and this is called a 4C. A little bit more of a gap here between the stadia and the dot than this picture gives you the impression, and you've got nothing in the top, just a fine line there. So I must admit, I really like this because the dot's not massive, but it's ultra clear. You can be reasonably precise if you're trying to shoot groups and accuracy test. You haven't got this monstrous heavy cluttered ret, but it is molto clear in low light. Guys, you can see the ret there. Note the fine section in the middle with the dot, so you've got the quick acquisition of the wide outer sections. Then it's quite fine in the middle, and it doesn't look like it does on the box. It's not as big and bold a hunting ret as you've come to hate, as it were. You know, those really thick stadia with a massive dot, it's horrible, whereas this is a really good, modern, up-to-date compromise. You've got high, you know, visibility, but then that fine centre section, it's really very versatile, very well thought out, up-to-date ret there. So yeah, that's a good ret there. I rather like it. It's not a long-range varminting scope. You know, this isn't what this thing is for. This is an all-purpose, versatile hunting scope. It's also really not too bad as a fairly fast running and gunning scope. I know it's a little bulky, but on 2.5 with the dot on, you know, it's really good for fast lamping. You could certainly use it for running bore and such like. 2.5 is you know, especially with the field of view that this thing has got, which we'll get to in a minute. You know, it's very versatile. You can do a lot of 2.5 with a red dot, and then when you zoom it up to 15, you can really zoom in on those targets and put that dot over the sort of 1/2 inch and do your group testing. It's very, very versatile. Right, now, optically, I could tell you that this £1,100 scope is good, it's bright, it's sharp, whatever. You could say that about anything from 300 quid up. What we need to know is what it's bright and contrasty and sharp against. And I think to get a benchmark for how good these Meoptas are, you are looking at S&B, Swaro, Zeiss, etc. This is an alpha scope, make no mistake about it. It's not a good mid-range scope, it's not a normal £1,000 scope. This is up there with the best of the best at £2,000. And this is what I'm so amazed by with the ZD series, is that you've got scopes there that are nigh on half the price of Zeiss Victories and Swaro Z6s, and well, in some ways I'm preferring them. And optically, they're so far above the mid-range, it's just a joke, and it's just academic which one is best within the group of alphas. So let's be realistic here. We're talking about the latest glass. We're talking about Meopta, who've always been good at dusk, really good at dusk and under the lamp, being now ultra bright and clear in the sun and on the targets, and right across the board in all lights now, they are alpha. These latest coatings are seriously right there. I mean, you've got to bear in mind, Meopta are not a small player. They supply the trade for optics. They've made some big well-known successful scopes for other manufacturers. They have been going a hell of a long time. They actually make their own glass and coatings in-house, which most people don't. These guys they're big players. They're not big advertisers, and a lot of people don't know quite how much Meopta is a leader in the pack, along with Zeiss and such like. There aren't many big independent, all under one roof manufacturers in the world, and Meopta is absolutely one of them. So, you know, these guys don't play. Anyway, their later coatings are good at all wavelengths. That's the thing. You can bias a scope to look bright in the day, and then it will just die a death at dusk. But it looks good in the showroom under the lights, as it were. You can have scopes that lean very heavily towards dusk and are, you know, no fun to look through in the day. Where you pay your £2,000 for your ultra premium scopes is to have it all the time, and the Meopta's right there. It just really is. It's also got a version of what Bushnell call Rain Guard, and what the Zeiss called Lotu Tech. Swaro Clean, I think it's called. You know, what I'm talking about is the anti-bead rain guard coating. I'm a big fan of it. I find it useful because you can have the best scope in the world, you get a bit of fog and rain on it, and all of a sudden it looks very Chinese. So it's got that, which I welcome. The coatings are, as I say, they're right up there, industry leading. Now, optically, when you go to a high mag range, you have to lose field of view, contrast, brightness. It doesn't help you optically. It is dangerous ground. There are only a couple of scopes in the world that can do it without tunnelling at the bottom. There are only a couple of scopes in the world that can do it without losing field of view. And it's a big ask. It is a big ask. I've compared this to a Zeiss Victory. I've compared it, and I mean at length, in all lights, several times. I've compared it to the Swaro Z6 3-18. It's been up there with the best. I've also compared it to a lot of mid-range scopes, Zeiss HD5, and you know, good £800-900 scopes that are real good. But the difference between them and Victory Z6 and the Meoptas, the Meostars, the ZDs, it's just night and day. Okay, so make no mistake, that's what you want to be doing, is you want to be getting out of your mid-range scopes and buying these. Now, the Z6 is able to, without tunnelling at the bottom, to give you 3 and 18, nice stable eye box, and have field of view right there with the Victory, and miles above the mid-range. This Meopta, which is about half the price of the Z6, is miles above the mid-range, but it does give up a bit of field of view, only a few percent, but a bit, and it isn't quite as punchy as Zeiss Victory. But we are talking in the same league without a doubt. It's just slightly bettered. What's interesting is that you can see the difference in the day. This is a bright, clear, well-controlled, excellent scope, make no bones about it, but you can just see it. At night, however, it really holds its own. And I'm talking about against the best scopes on the planet that are twice as much money. Twice as much money. So it's a simple choice. Do you give up the last nth degree of field of view and punchiness of your eye box and your contrast? Do you give up just a tiny bit for a very great deal more versatility in your mag range? 2.5 to 15 that's 2 scopes, and I really like this thing for 1100 quid. Wow. The Z6 is a nudge better, but it is what, twice as much, very nearly. So I'd rather have 2 of these, I can tell you that right now. It's that good. It falls just short of the Z6, and I think the Z6 is about the only scope that can live with a Victory whilst having a higher mag range, while also keeping a moderate size. There are big tactical IORs and things that you know are a different review from what we're talking about here. Really, we're trying to keep this sensible weight-wise. So you know, that's what you've got to compare it to. Really, the Z6 I think is the benchmark. So thoroughly recommended, guys. Ultra recommended. Good build, mega warranty, fantastic bang up to date coatings. It's wonderfully bright and clear and sharp in the day. It really is good. No tints, just very natural and easy. No tunnelling at 2.5, no messing. It does what it says. It doesn't lie to you that it's a 2.5 to 16 and it's a 4. It actually it doesn't tunnel at the bottom, which is great. Bear in mind the £2,000 Zeiss Victory tunnels from 4 to 4.5, and that only goes 4 to 16. So you know you've got a lot more field of view here. A lot more at the bottom end. It's got the latest coatings, it tracks, it's got good IR. I like the choice of rets. It doesn't have side focus, which will upset the air rifle boys, and you know it does limit it slightly. Yes, it would be great to have digital IR on the rear tube here, and to have side focus here, but that would add a lot more money. Personally, I'd have preferred that, but I must say that for a scope with non-adjustable parallax, it isn't very focus fussy. It has a nice wide depth of field, and you can also rather significantly adjust it using the quick adjust diopter here. It is somewhat cheating, but it and I recommend that people do play with these more than they do. People tend to set them and leave them. I don't recommend that at all. So you can it's more versatile than you would think, but I would love to have seen side focus. Yeah, it's a high roller, this. It's got to be on your list. If you're looking at the Z6, you should try this as well, because you are very much in the same league. There are small differences, but you're talking about saving 50%, and in that money you could buy all manner of toys. You could buy another scope for another rifle, you could buy a night vision scope, you could buy a Macmillan stock, you could buy a Macmillan stock and a dual trigger think of the difference in the money between this and a Z6. Now, I'm a big fan of the Z6. You know, Swaro make primo stuff, I'm there. But this scope is there too. Serious bargain. And Meopta have managed to carry on the superlative results that people are finding with the Meostar R1 series into the R2 series with the high mag range. So very good scope. There we go. That's massively recommended by me. I'm really taken by it. And don't be put off if you're a rimfire shooter or something like that by the lack of side focus, or indeed the Hunting Star Red. They're both less of a problem than you'd think for air rifle and rimfire use. So do certainly have a look through one.